It's time! And now, introducing your host, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, by way of Boston, Massachusetts, presenting live,
the Bostonian versus the book. Follow the show on Twitter at Boston versus the book.
Here he is, Matt Paramount.
Enjoy the show, enjoy the show, enjoy the show, enjoy the show.
What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Wednesday morning, Wednesday evening, depending on where you are and when you are watching episode of the Bostonian versus the book. My name is Matt Peralt. We are live on our YouTube channel. It's a tape, but we're live, if I did it right, and then replayed on Sports Grid Television every single weeknight at 1 a.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Pacific time. This is the first time I will be doing something like this. So if you're watching on Sports Grid, there's nothing different, but this is a different type of show. I am currently in New Orleans, so this is going to be a bit of a mix of new content and older content. We're going to hear from Brendan Fitzgerald, an interview that I did last week about, one, his music, two, his path to the UFC 324, which already happened, so there's some outdated conversations there, but overall about what will happen in the future with the Paramount Plus agreement that the UFC has entered into. We'll replay that interview that I did with Brendan. Then, or before that, in the opening line, you will hear new content. And this broke about an hour ago, in which Bill Belichick has been left off the first ballot Hall of Fame selection that he was eligible for by the committee, by the Football Writers Committee, which is in charge of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You know I have a lot to say about this coming up in the opening line. We will do we'll go down the rabbit hole with our friends at Rabbet. We'll take a look at some of the things happening for the Super Bowl and some markets you guys might want to get into for the Super Bowl. We will do that. And then if we have some time, we'll jump into news of the industry. These shows today, Thursday, and Friday are all going to be a little bit different simply because of how they're going to be structured. So hopefully this all gets released and it drops the way it's supposed to. The live chat is supposed to be live, but if I do it wrong, it won't be. But hopefully it will be, and we'll be able to get involved with it and have it be done the right way. I hope this all works out, but you're going to get content. Regardless, you're going to get content. A mixture of new and old, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We begin today on Wednesday with the opening line on Bill Belichick being presented by Huel. It is the opening line being presented by our friends at Huel. Have you guys checked these guys out yet? I always put this QR code on the screen because it makes it really easy for you guys to be able to go and hit Huel with your phone. Just simply go ahead and point it at that QR code, and it's going to take you directly to the website. But if you want to punch it in, it's huel.com/BVB20. That is an exclusive offer that is good until the end of the month of January, where you guys will get 20% off the Huel High Protein Starter Kit, which is 5 ready-to-drink shakes, meals, plus they'll give you the chocolate powder, the Black Edition chocolate powder, which I use all the time. This is about consistency, and hopefully you haven't given up on your New Year's resolution, because you got a chance here to keep it going with Huel, and they're going to give you a break in cost. 20% off for new customers at Huel for their high protein starter kit. 35 grams of protein in the ready-to-drink shakes. The powder, you're getting 40 grams of protein, 27 essential vitamins and minerals. It's gluten-free. It's vegan. No artificial sweeteners, colors, or flavors. It makes hitting your protein goals easier with Huel. Human Fuel. Check it out at huel.com/BVB20. Let's talk about this. And Bill Belichick. I actually can't believe I actually dropped my phone when I was at a beignet shop with my daughter, which is funny because I'm going to New Orleans today. And so she wanted to participate in the New Orleans theme. So we went to a New Orleans place and she got beignets. And I dropped my phone. And she said, "What is going on? Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine. I just can't believe what actually went down. I couldn't believe this happened." Bill Belichick, 8-time Super Bowl winning coach and head coach, is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. Belichick fell short of the 40 votes needed to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame this summer in his first year of eligibility. As I wrote on Twitter immediately following from that beignet shop, petty, small men who are trying to send a message to Bill shouldn't be allowed to invalidate the Hall of Fame, because that is what is happening here. You are invalidating the Hall of Fame by making it like this. According to the article that was written on ESPN.com, Bill Belichick is being kept out of the Hall of Fame because of Deflategate and Spygate. A voter who spoke to ESPN with the condition of not anyone knowing their name said that Bill Polian, an ardent Robert Kraft supporter, former GM of the Buffalo Bills and the Indianapolis Colts, two of the franchises who got their teeth kicked in for decades by Bill Belichick, told some voters that Belichick should, quote, wait a year before induction as penance for Spygate. Roger Goodell also fined the Patriots $500,000 and Belichick $250,000 for Spygate, which cost the team a first-round draft pick. Bill Polian did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The only explanation for the outcome was the cheating stuff. A veteran Hall voter told ESPN on Tuesday it really bothered some of the guys. Let me remind you the resume of Bill Belichick, because the overall resume of Bill Belichick is unbelievable. Spygate and Deflategate, I will diffuse both of them for the 18th millionth time here in just 1 second. But the resume, the most wins as a head coach in the history of the NFL, the most appearances in a Super Bowl in the history of the NFL, the most playoff wins in the NFL as a head coach in the history of the NFL, the most playoff appearances by a head coach in the history of the NFL, the most divisional championships as a head coach in the history of the NFL, and he's third in all-time wins. And if he goes back into the league at some point, he'll have a shot to pass Don Shula, because God forbid that guy gets passed, because then all of his buddies wouldn't know what the hell to do if he ever went back in, because Belichick probably, if he wants to, could coach in the NFL, because look at the kids getting jobs now. You're telling me you wouldn't want Belichick on your sidelines over some 30-year-old? Spygate and Deflategate are two of the stupidest things that have ever been argued in sports. It was made up. It was conjured up. It was jealousy. It was two stories that football fans who need an excuse for why the Patriots dominated the league for 20 years, they need the excuse. Chief fans need the excuse. Colt fans need the excuse. But guys who know ball, do we think Patrick Mahomes knows ball? I think Patrick Mahomes knows ball, right? He knows ball. Chief fans are going to love this. Your golden goose, your guy, the guy you guys just slobber over, even he knows it's a clown show. Patrick Mahomes, insane. Don't even understand how this could be possible. Fair. Matt Chatham, who was part of the Patriots for multiple championships, former Patriot now in the media. Just jealous losers trying for a pound of flesh they couldn't get on the field. A writer who is on the committee Armando Seguro wrote after the news broke, I presented Bill Belichick in the coach subcommittee meeting that moved him forward to the full committee, and I presented him to the full committee. I am stunned, disappointed, and disagree deeply with at least 11 selectors who didn't vote for him in the Hall of Fame class for 2026. The guy who made sure that Belichick didn't get in is the same guy who hung a 2014 AFC finalist banner at the time, the RCA Dome in Indianapolis. So that's who we're dealing with. We're dealing with a guy who, a franchise that would hang a banner for making it to the AFC Championship. Not winning it, just making it. We're an AFC finalist. Look at us. Look how great we are. Bill Polian's been a clown for a long time. So he waited. Like, this is some serious, like, Machiavellian stuff. This is like, it should go into the book, The Prince. Like, there's, was it 10 laws of power or is it 30 laws of power? I forget the name of the book. Like, he read the 30 laws of power. Like, he literally read that book about how to sit and wait, stew, and then get your revenge at some other point. Spygate, to refresh you kids who maybe don't remember, Spygate was the fact that the Patriots recorded the signals for the Jets on video because 80,000 people who were in the building that day in New York could all see what the Jets were doing on the sidelines for their signals. What made Spygate illegal was that the Patriots pointed a camera at the sidelines. That's what Spygate was. This was before cell phones, boys and girls, because you know what can't happen anymore? Spygate could never be a thing anymore because everybody's got a camera on their phone. So there are thousands and thousands of cameras all pointed at the sideline. Spygate is a joke and always has been a joke if you think that that's how the Patriots won their Super Bowls. So then it goes from a ridiculous, dumb conversation about taping signals, which meant nothing. And by the way, the Rams, go fly a kite. Patriots never taped anything. No one taped a walkthrough. Never happened. You just got your asses beat. Okay? Plain and simple. Marshall Faulk, go fly a kite. Goodbye. Never happened. Okay? The Boston Herald had to retract everything when they came out and reported because no one knows where John Tomasi, the writer of that story, got the information, but he had to backtrack because he got bad information because it never happened. Then we go to the Roger Goodell. Did Roger Goodell smash videos? Why did Roger Goodell burn the tapes? I don't know. I don't care because it was nothing. If it was such a big deal, somebody would have gone after Roger, but Roger stayed in the job for a long time. So we go from that into Deflategate, which is essentially because Tom Brady would not give the maniacs at the NFL what the hell was on that cell phone. If you're Tom Brady, think about the stuff you might have on that cell phone. Just hypothetically, you're a married guy. You're a guy who ultimately got divorced. Would you give your employer your cell phone if you had maybe some stuff going on? Not football stuff, personal stuff. Because it's going to leak out who Tom Brady is texting with, who Tom Brady is getting pictures from. Like, I wouldn't have given it to the NFL either. Why would you ever share that information with your employer? Because they're not going to keep it quiet. They're going to let it go everywhere. So I think Tom Brady took a hammer to the phone. It had nothing to do with Deflategate. But again, we're talking about pounds per square inch on footballs. You think the Patriots won because they were deflating footballs? And we can get into it if you want. We can get into the ideal gas law, which everyone read. But did you read the report? Because if you read the report like I did, and I talked about it for 2 straight years about how stupid it was the single stupidest sports talk topic that I have covered in my life. I'm 48 years old. I've been doing talk radio since I was 22 years old. We're talking about nearly 25, 26, 27 years of my life spent And I have never talked about something so stupid than Deflategate. But Bill Polian is going to keep Bill Belichick out of the Hall of Fame. And I don't really care about the Hall of Fame. I'm serious. I've said this for a long time. If I have to think about you being a Hall of Famer, you're not a Hall of Famer. But if Bill Belichick isn't a Hall of Famer, the Hall of Fame is worthless. There is no such thing as the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It is worthless. The other problem for this committee is that if you're going to keep Belichick out, Brady is eligible next season. You're going to keep Tom Brady out of the Hall of Fame. You're going to tell me that Tom Brady is not a first ballot Hall of Famer? So if Brady is a first ballot Hall of Famer, but Belichick is not, you are telling on yourself. It is personal. You're allowing personal biases to get in the way because you don't like Bill. Heck, most Patriot fans don't like Bill. They don't like the way he treated people. They don't like the way he carried himself, the arrogance, the pompous nature of Bill Belichick. But it doesn't matter. You small men, you tiny infants, that you decide because Bill Polian and Tony Dungy, two of the most petulant babies, decide that they're going to come up with some political campaign to say, you know what, Belichick should wait a year. Tony Dungy shouldn't be allowed anywhere near the broadcast for the Super Bowl with the Patriots. He shouldn't be allowed anywhere near it. Shouldn't be allowed Radio Row. Shouldn't be allowed Media Row. Goodbye. The fact that Tony Dungy is tied to this and he works in the media it's all every Patriot person, every Patriot fan, every Patriot outlet, every Patriot player should say no to Tony Dungy, saying, thanks, man, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to talk to you. I'm not answering any questions from you. Bill Polian, he better not show up on Media Row or he's going to have to answer for this from a lot of people. Because it's not just Patriot people who are mad. I cannot believe the number of media members who are entirely in lockstep about how big of a joke this is. I've gone and looked it up. Roger Goodell can't do anything about this. But if I was the commissioner, I would try very hard to find a loophole to go ahead and put Belichick into the Hall of Fame to go around the committee. Because this makes everyone look bad in pro football. This makes everyone look like they don't know what they're doing. And it could cause, and probably should cause, a massive overhaul of the way we elect people into the Hall of Fame. It's a museum to football, okay? This is not like baseball in the steroid era. This is totally different. This is a coach whose resume runs deep. You're telling me that Bill Belichick, who could have gone in as an assistant coach with the Giants by winning 2 championships in New York, you're telling me that resume that he created, what he did, even with the Giants, with Bill Parcells, is justifiable for a guy who could have been up for a Hall of Fame selection. And then he goes and wins 6 more championships as a head coach. He's the coach of the greatest dynasty in the history of the NFL with the greatest quarterback of all time, who is a 6th-round pick, by the way, out of Michigan that everybody passed on. And that guy, he is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. The whole entire Hall of Fame's a joke. They just invalidated everyone's selection. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. This isn't even not like Terrell Owens. You could say Terrell Owens had to wait because he was a petulant baby. It's way worse than that. If Terrell Owens had Jerry Rice's stats, I would say this is what that's like. Like, you think Jerry Rice ever wouldn't have been a first ballot Hall of Famer? The greatest receiver of all time? Terrell Owens is a very good receiver. Not the greatest receiver of all time. You wouldn't leave Joe Montana out. You wouldn't leave Jerry Rice out. You're not leaving Bill Belichick out. He is the standard. And by the way, it screws up the vote for next year and all the guys that come behind Bill Belichick, all the coaches who become eligible. It has a domino effect. This is not a 1-year screw up. This is a multiple year screw up by these people just because they want to stick it to Belichick. Just because Bill Polian is a small man. It's unbelievable. The idea that, again, I don't care much about Hall of Fames. They don't matter all that much to me unless it becomes a personal attack. And if you're personally going after the greatest coach of all time and the orchestra and the director, the orchestrator of the greatest football dynasty that the NFL has ever seen, and you determine that you're going to keep him out because you don't like him, make him wait. Why? Because if Brady goes in as a first ballot Hall of Famer, the argument about cheating goes out the window. Belichick didn't play a single snap. Tom Brady played them all. So you're telling me that Brady goes in and Belichick doesn't as a first ballot Hall of Famer? You're going to make Tom Brady wait? You're going to make Robert Kraft wait, who was also up for eligibility, by the way. Robert Kraft goes in, but Bill Belichick doesn't? Is that what you're going to do? We haven't heard this yet, but that's potential that Robert Kraft goes in and Belichick doesn't. And if that happens, Robert Kraft's going to have to, there's going to be some people who are going to accuse Robert Kraft of doing this because of the way that it's separated. And Bill Polian is very close with Robert Kraft. And if that comes out, the Patriots better win the Super Bowl because fans are going to be going against Robert Kraft if it comes out that he's the one, if he's ultimately the mastermind behind all of this, because of the way that the Belichick and Brady and Kraft split happened. If that is ultimately the undercurrent from all of this, oh my. oh my. I can't wait to get to San Francisco. It's going to be wild with this news. All right, last week I talked to Brendan Fitzgerald from the UFC Play-by-Play Broadcaster about the company, the Paramount Plus deal, and more. We're going to replay that conversation now here on BBB. Okay, UFC 324 happens Saturday night here in Las Vegas. I have not covered a UFC event in quite a while. We are back. Fights are back. And not only fights are back, but a brand new partner is back as well. He is Brendan Fitzgerald joining us here on the once again. What's up, my friend? How are you?
Can we just continue to be old men complaining about college football for a little while? My gosh, you hit the nail on the head. And like as a Bostonian, it's like these days, I was talking about this with my wife the other night when we were watching the end of the game. Boston College has no hope, just like Duke has no hope. Like once you hit this certain point, the coach is going to leave and the kids are going to leave. You go to Boston College and you have a great year. Oh, all the SEC schools are like, hey, turns out he's pretty good. We should have recruited him, but come play for us now. I hate it, man. I hate it. I hope they can find some sort of system that preserves programs instead of just Wild West of year-to-year stuff, man.
And billionaires deciding who gets to keep players and who gets to lose players. So
yeah.
It's a weird place. Can we start with your music for a second? Because I am such a fan of what you do musically because I think it takes balls the size of planets to be a play-by-play broadcaster, to go and sing and play guitar and not just do it for like some like bullshit thing of like I'm just fooling around, but like really putting your heart into it and like doing it consistently. When did it start and where is it going?
So to make it as brief as possible in terms of a story, I have always loved music and always been somewhat musical. Like I had a drum set when I was in junior high and high school, and that was like my main instrument was drums, but I've really understood music loosely without studying it and really loved a lot of different kinds of it. 2020, we get my 5-year-old at the time a piano instead of sending him to iPad kindergarten. I was like, you know what? We had a piano in my house. I want to play it now. I'm an adult. Like I wish I played it. So I learned piano and picked it up pretty quick and loved it for those few years. And then last summer, I got obsessed with the guitar. And I've been able to strum some chords on a guitar for a while. But like in the summer, I was like, you know what? I love music this much. Look what I did with piano. Now I'm obsessed with guitar. I love country music. I'm going to start doing this. And it kind of was a combination of loving music and getting into that dad stage. There's a lot of dad cover bands out there where you get into your mid 40s and you're just like, you know what? I'm not putting this on the back burner anymore because before I know it, I'm going to be 65 and I'm be like, I wish I had started back then. And the other arm was I completely quit social media early last year. And then my agent was just like, hey, you don't have to like do TikTok dances, but you got to be on there in some form. And so I decided if I'm going to be on my terms. And I'm going to do stuff that really lights me on fire. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm going to start putting my music out there because you give less and less of a crap of what other people think of you. And sure enough, people kind of loved it right away. And I've had the idea for a couple of years, like, hey, Jimmy Fallon did parody songs on Saturday Night Live Weekend Update, and it worked. And Adam Sandler did it long before him, and it worked. And so I was just like, nobody's doing that for the UFC. This is a lane. This is a fun thing that I really have passion with. And so we'll see where it's going. I do know, like, I'm not stopping. And so at some point, I'm going to be on the road, and I'm going to do a show, like, at a bar on a UFC weekend. Like, it's going to be Thursday. We're going to be in Chicago, and I'm going to find some bar that will have me play music, and UFC fans will be able to come gather and do a meet and greet and have some fun. We'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, I guarantee you fans would come out to see this and come out to be a part of it, because I think it is really interesting. Do you think you'll stay with the combat sports angle, or will you like branch out and go and do your own thing, like musically?
I'm going to keep the UFC connection like for now, because I'm still just starting, but who knows where it I'm loving like writing different songs and coming up with different stuff. So like last year, it was all just like, it was pretty much event recaps. You know, the events would happen on Saturday. Monday, I'd come out with like in song, here's what happened on Saturday night, which will continue. That's a fun thing. I've started writing songs just like about MMA, like UFC topics, like have a whole song that I haven't written, but it's about what the losing fighter feels, you know, kind of like this story told of like, you don't think about the losers, and you especially don't think about them going to the airport on a Sunday morning when their eyes are shut and they got stitches and whatever. And I was just, that's an interesting story to tell in song. And I've got another one called What Does Bruce Say? And it's like, you know, Bruce Buffer, we all know his catchphrase, but what does he say when it's time for other things in life? So I think there's a lot of different avenues where it could be fun.
It's funny because we just changed the intro for this show, and back in my radio days, I had Bruce do my whole radio intro. Yeah. And so now we've incorporated that into this show's intro. So it's time. Bruce's voice is heard at the start of every show now for BBB. Yeah. So what
does he say, Matt, when it's time for breakfast? And that's kind of the premise of that song that will see the light of day when it's ready.
That's tremendous. Well, best of luck with it. Just so I wanted to start with that, because if folks haven't checked you out on Instagram, they absolutely should. And I think it takes such courage, and you're great at it. And you're in an awesome part of the country now to do it, obviously, in Texas. So you're around a lot of very talented country musicians and whatnot. You are going to put out gear. Is this to put a bow on it? Are we doing T-shirts and hoodies? Are we doing gear?
I just thought I should have a T-shirt commemorating the album that I dropped. I thought, you know, we got a 6-week break for the UFC schedule. And I was just like, you know, I came up with all these songs that just lived on Instagram. I should record them. And these days it's miraculous what anybody can do with an internet connection, a simple microphone of an instrument, if you have it. And so I just recorded on GarageBand on this computer that I'm on right now, and this microphone that I'm on right now. I recorded the songs like in audio form. And I went to a website that like lets you license your music. And so now you can listen to my debut album, Octagon Songs, on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music. You can ask Alexa to play it. It'll play it. It's on there. And so I said, well, I should at least commemorate the album with a T-shirt. So that'll probably come out in the next week or so.
Very, very cool. Well, you guys obviously are going through a big transitional period.
Yeah, big time.
Going from ESPN to Paramount Plus. As a broadcaster, as someone obviously who's worked with the company for a long period of time, how different is it going to be for you? And will the audience on Saturday night see anything different than what they've seen in years past?
Yeah, good question. It will look different. For me, you know, the difference is new partners mean new executives are like in the fray, and you're in like kind of a new pipeline. But the unique part of the UFC is it covers itself. Like I work for the UFC. Right. UFC salaried employee. Anybody that you see on TV, there might not be salaried employees, but they work for the UFC, at least during the event broadcast. So I don't think it'll be all that different from like an event to event standpoint for me for fight nights. I'm still going to be answering to the same boss, same set of bosses, really. And, you know, Paramount is where it showed. The mic flag that I'm holding is going to be a Paramount one instead of the red E. So I don't think a lot's going to change from my perspective, other than the fact that like, okay, maybe there's some new opportunities depending on what Paramount wants to build. Glenn Jacobs, who led the ESPN MMA team, he's at Paramount now. Paramount was like, we know nothing about the UFC. Glenn, come help us. So after like 29 years at ESPN, he saw this new opportunity, and he's going to build their UFC coverage. So not all that much is going to change. It'll depend on how much they want to put into it. Paramount is obviously a very different outlet than ESPN. ESPN is a sports coverage machine, and the biggest one at that. Paramount is an entertainment app for the most part with CBS Sports programming. So to be seen what they want to build. As far as what fans are going to see differently on Saturday nights, no pay-per-view is awesome, but that money's got to come from somewhere, and CBS paid a bunch for it. So there will be commercials during the main card. That's probably the biggest thing. They snuck some commercials in here and there,
right?
But they didn't put commercials on walks, and they didn't put commercials in between rounds during the fights. That will now change. I don't know how much. I haven't seen the format for this week, but UFC 324 watch on Saturday night, you're going to see Sean O'Malley and Song Yadong, and I don't know if you're getting their full walk. I don't know if we're going to sneak in a 30-second break. I don't know if we're going to do, I think, what they call a squeeze back, where it's like you see it small box while they play a big ad real quick.
Yeah.
But commercials will be a part of the broadcast because there's no pay-per-view. That's a main thing. I'm trying to think if there's other stuff. I think what I've seen from Paramount early on in their marketing strategy is they are looking for stories and characters in the way that a TV show is great because of the story and the character. They are not leaning into the sporting competition element, at least for now, or maybe they will, but they're framing it as great stories. Every promo has "Are you not entertained?" from Russell Crowe from one of their properties, Gladiator.
Yeah.
And all of the big cinematic trailer that they brought out, which this melds sports at the highest level with great entertainment, like Top Gun with UFC and all these things. So they're digging deep into storytelling and the cinematic nature of it. I think it's going to be very cool in terms of the concepts and the content and how we can build athletes, especially ones with personalities and brands. I've seen some sneak peeks of stuff, and it's really cool when you turn that on hyperdrive, which is different than Lerone Murphy's undefeated. Movsar Evloev's undefeated. They deserve the next title shot. It's yeah, but Diego Lopez, man, he's a cowboy from Mexico, bro. You can make Brazil, Mexico. But you can make a trailer out of that, in a different way. So that's my advice to fighters. You don't have to be cringe, but stand for something.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you think that will resonate with certain fighters? Will they'll pick up on that? Because clearly, we'll talk about Paddy Pimblett in a second in his fight, but clearly Paddy picked up the mantle from Conor, and how Conor talked, and then now Paddy has become a very big part of the UFC in terms of when they have press conferences. You expect Paddy Pimblett to be somewhat of a personality and grab the mic and say a lot of things. Is that going to be picked up upon? Do you think that fighters will recognize that other fighters who do talk get more opportunities because Paramount is looking to highlight it?
I mean, I think Paramount's going to highlight it, but that's not anything new, really. Look at Colby Covington was going to get cut. He goes full WWE heel, and he's in a title fight within a year, if not sooner than that. So that's always existed in combat sports, especially. You can't really exist that way in traditional team sports. Doesn't work that way. But in combat sports, that has already existed. Paddy is very naturally good at that, and so his rise just happened. I think fighters know it's just a choice that they make. There are so many fighters that just want to be authentic and put their head down and go to work and take the long road and whatever. And they don't maybe want to love taking the long road, but that, if you're going to do it that way, that's the choice you're making. Alexander Volkanovski is a huge star now. People don't realize how long it took him to become a big star. He was a champion and defending his belt several times before anybody really started to care about him in terms of a mass appeal. Now he's one of the biggest stars out there, but he's a big star because he's just so good. He's a humble, he's a down-to-earth guy. Then when he was a champion, he started cooking on his YouTube channel and farming and showing his personality a bit more. Now he's this big star. But he could have leapt the line quicker if he put himself out there more in a different way. So fighters know it. It's just a matter of if they're going to do it or not. I'll give you a perfect example of what to watch this Saturday. There's a guy named Josh Hokett. He's a heavyweight. Fresno State All-American wrestler. Fresno State played football, cup of coffee, I think, with the practice squad for the San Francisco 49ers as a fullback. And now he's a fighter. He's young in his career. He speaks like an athlete during the week. He's not this crazy thing. But when he's won the fight, he's put on Stars and Stripes do-rag, sunglasses on, and he cuts a promo. He writes a rhyme. He's like, the boy Joy with all the, he comes up with a rhyme, and he's fighting on Saturday. And like, if he wins and he cuts a promo, he's going to have a poem. He's going to have a call out, and Paramount is going to love that. This guy, this is his second UFC fight. I'm very interested. If he wins and does that, what's he do next? How fast does he get ranked opponents and climb the rankings and get a shot that the heavyweight that says, hey, I just want what's next. Just working hard. You forget about him as soon as he leaves the octagon, as soon as you go to commercial, if not before then. So Josh Hokett this Saturday is like, watch what he does. That's what to do.
Wow. He's fighting Denzel Freeman. He's fighting, who is
he knocked out his previous opponent in the first round at the UFC Apex in front of nobody in terms of a crowd. Now they're putting him on 324 to start at Paramount. Now he's on the prelims, but everybody wants to be on this card. It's a huge card.
Average fight time of 3:31. So he's a real heavyweight here in terms of first. Don't blink. First round KO could be coming on that card.
That's that's the thing to follow. That's not wins and losses.
Okay, so let's talk about the main event, because we'll get to the co-main that is not going to happen. But we've got Paddy Pimblett against Justin Gaethje. Pimlett's a pretty good favorite here, minus 234 up against Gaethje. Interim lightweight belt fight here. Gaethje, I mean, talking about speaking your way into a fight. I mean, Gaethje was basically saying either I get a title fight or I'm done. Mm-hmm. And so he gets a title fight now to see what may happen with the interim lightweight belt. But he's a big dog. Do you see a path to victory for Justin Gaethje in this fight?
Absolutely. Definitely. 1,000%. Gaethje is always in amazing fights. Yes, he got knocked out by Max Holloway. I feel like he came back strong. I can't remember who he won. I can't exactly remember what Gaethje did last. But listen, he's an all-action fighter. He's a huge puncher. He's got next-level power. He's not going to be intimidated by the moment. He's not going to be intimidated by Paddy. And he's letting it all go, as he does every time. That's why we love watching him fight so much. He's probably my favorite pure fighter. Like, I have a relationship with a lot of UFC fighters. I don't really know Justin Gaethje that well. Probably my favorite fighter to watch. I mean, you can't have a different guy. I always describe to non-UFC fans, Justin Gaethje is not a household name, but he damn should be. I mean, he's more exciting fighter than Conor McGregor was. It's unbelievable. The Gaethje's highlight reel, win and lose. It's crazy.
I think what fans have talked about, the Fiziev fight that went to the distance, it went to the card. Right, that was his last fight that he won. And
I thought it was Fiziev, which I think which he beat twice, I think. But he did. So, right. And it was a fight of the night again. He's always in the fight of the night. If not, he gets the performance of the night. He is closer to the end of his career. That's why he's saying, if I don't win, I'll retire. And if I didn't get the title shot, I'll retire, because I don't want to keep putting my body through this. I've kind of done what I can do. He's definitely got a chance. Paddy's earned what he's earned. Paddy's undefeated in the UFC. But, I mean, we'll see what happens. That line's coming down, by the way. I think it was minus 280. So, people are going to come in on Gaethje. He's always got a big chance with the power that he has.
I know it was a long time ago in 2022, but I feel like the Oliveira fight might be kind of the blueprint for what may happen, because Oliveira did choke out Gaethje, and I just wonder, can Justin keep himself on the feet? It just feels like if this thing goes to the mat, this goes to the ground, I don't think it lasts very long. Is that fair?
Yeah, well, Paddy is the grappler. He can throw some hands. He's not afraid to be in a back and forth fight, but you don't want to do that against Justin Gaethje, especially with the skill set that he has. So Paddy is the grappler. If he can get him down, I think that's what people are thinking. I think Paddy's a lot bigger than people really like. Not only the blowups between fights, but he just has like a bigger frame for a lightweight that like helps him. Like, he can bully guys, which you have the Beatles haircut from Liverpool. You don't think you should get bullied by that guy, but like, he can bully guys if he gets them into his wheelhouse. I think the other thing with Gaethje is, like, when he fought Max was faster than him for all 5 rounds. And so I think people are like, is his age catching up to him? But Fiziev has the speed that Max has, and Gaethje got back in there and he got the win and he got the job done. So you never know. Like, was Gaethje caught on a bad night against Max, and it just so happened to be at UFC 300 for the BMF title? You know what I mean? So we'll see. I give Gaethje a shot. All that plus money, I can't bet, don't bet. But like, I think the favorite is warranted. I think Gaethje is a live underdog for sure. And yeah, the game plan is for Patty to get it to the ground and stay out of danger.
The co-main that we thought we were going to see was Amanda Nunes against Kayla Harrison. Unfortunately, a neck injury for Kayla is going to keep her out for 6 months. There's a lot of speculation about whether that fight ever happens now, just given the age of the fighters and Amanda deciding to come back for this one opponent. She's not going to fight anybody else except Harrison. Do you think that fight happens at some point in 26?
If Kayla has no complications in her recovery, which might be asking a lot. I don't know the extent of her neck injury. I just saw the headline that said if she didn't have the surgery, she might have been paralyzed.
Right.
So it's obviously pretty serious. It looked pretty serious when she made her video. If she comes back, that fight's going to happen. There's too much noise surrounding it. There's too much hype. It's in a division where it's like, name the other fighter in that division. Most people can. Poor Norma Dumont has probably earned herself a title shot at this point from Brazil, but Amanda's not coming back to fight her. And Kayla, you know, has a recent champion and obviously decorated athlete, but her, you know, her reign, like she could have reigned for a long time. If she beat Amanda, Amanda probably doesn't fight again. And then Kayla can just, you know,
maul, do
what Amanda did, right? Just like be a heavy favorite against the rest of the division, but Kayla can sell fights. So you put her in against anybody who's willing. So I hope the fight happens. You know, 6 months, the White House is in June. It's the perfect fight to put on that card. I thought they might have held it for the White House initially, considering like Amanda coming back, and do they just go, hey, you know what? American champion Kayla, former Olympic gold medalist, and
makes
perfect
sense.
White House. Yeah. So I don't know if she's going to be ready by then, but that's my hope, is that she's going to be ready by then. But that's probably asking a lot. Neck surgery, 6 months, and the timetable. Hope it happens. I think I'm optimistic that it will happen.
Hopefully. I mean, everyone wants that fight to happen. Yeah. And so what it does is it elevates a lot of the other fights on this card, that it bumps everybody up.
Right.
You mentioned personalities. Well, Sean O'Malley had that cornered for about 4 years in the UFC, where he was the biggest personality, whether it be on social media, whether it be his live streams, you know, pulling out joints at different times, smoking in different places. Like he was the hair, he was the personality. Now he's fighting Song Yadong. What do you make of this fight, and what do you make of the future for Sean O'Malley in this division?
Sean O'Malley needs to win. If he loses, the shine's going to be off, and he has enough business ventures where he doesn't need to keep fighting, or he doesn't need to stay in the UFC for the money or being a big star. And I think he's like been pretty candid, like on his own podcast. He's like, man, I'm falling off hard. I'm not even the co-main event here. Now it turns out he is the co-main event. But I think he blatantly said, like, if I lose to Song, like, maybe I'll have another couple of fights, but like this could be the end of the Sugar era. And whenever he decides to retire from the UFC, there is so much money in celebrity, you know, Jake Paul boxing circuits for Sean O'Malley that he'll be just fine. Does he want to put his body through the ringer for what it takes to fight in the UFC? Because that's the thing. You can be a big star. You can have all the side deals and all the fun stuff, but like those fights are real. And it's not just boxing. It's a lot of different stuff. So if he loses to Song, he's not going to retire, but he's not, in my opinion, not long. I don't think he's going to be your 36-year-old guy that's like, I want to have 30 UFC fights. I want to get the belt back. He's not going to be Michael Johnson. He's not going to be Jim Miller. He's not just like going to keep going and keep going and keep chasing it. He has too many other things going on that pays him a lot of money, and he'll be a big personality. He can always go to the UFC. He's going to be that type of guy that like Dana will always have. Dana will always go on his podcast like Cowboy Cerrone. Like he's going to be like, thanks for what you did for the UFC if you're not still fighting. And I'm happy for you that you made a lot of money and that you're doing well. But if he does beat Song, Petr Yan is the champ. O'Malley has a win over Petr Yan. So we're talking about like two totally different paths based on the results of this fight. It's unbelievable. Like if he loses to Song, the matchmaking gets tougher. He's always going to be a big drop. Fighters are always going to want to fight him because he'll still have name value and they can launch their careers off of him. But I don't think he's just going to fight out the string for the next like 5 years. I think he might fight for another like 2 years if he loses.
Interesting. Before we let you go, I want to know what's next for you. I mean, you're the guy that travels all over the globe. I mean, your passport must be amazing to look at. So what does 2026 look like for you? What's the future calls for you, and for you with Paramount Plus? What's next?
So I will host the desk coverage for the next numbered event. I'm not in Las Vegas this week for 324, 325. They're going down to Sydney. We're doing our desk coverage from Las Vegas.
Oh, cool.
So I'll be in studio at the Meta Apex, Apex, not the UFC Apex anymore. So we're doing our coverage from there. So that'll be fun. Robert Whitaker is going to fly from Sydney up to Las Vegas to join our desk crew to do the coverage for that event
in Las Vegas, in Sydney.
I'm just like, what a tragedy, Rob, but it's going to be great. He is so much fun, by the way. Robert Whitaker, one of the best hangs in the UFC. Unbelievable guy. So I'll do that. We got an event at the Apex the next week. I'll be on play-by-play for that. Mexico City, end of February. Another Vegas date in March, Seattle in March, and then there's some other rumored cities as we get into the spring.
Okay, hold on.
I don't know Mexico City.
I have to ask you because the last time you went there,
oh, buddy, how do you know that story?
Because it happened on the air.
No. So I have two infamous Mexico City stories.
You too? Oh,
yeah. So the under the table was 2019. That's ancient news now, right? So under the table, and as we get closer to Mexico City, I'm going to make some content based on that because it's too good of a story to not revisit. I also wrote a song about going under the table in Mexico City that I'm going to release in February too. But in 2023, when I went there, it was my Michael Jordan flu game.
Yeah, no, that's I don't know about the 2019 story. I don't know. I only know the 23. I only know the 2023 story.
Okay, yeah, Mike. The flu game. I was up all night throwing up and all the other stuff, norovirus.
Yep.
And went to the arena early before the show. I mean, up until mid-afternoon, I didn't even know if I was going to be able to do it. I could not even sit up in bed. It was like awful.
I remember seeing you. Yeah. I saw you at drop off at the schools our kids used to go to.
Yeah.
I remember saying like, "Were you okay?" You're like, "No, I was not okay."
Oh my God, it was so bad. I never, and a couple IVs at the arena from the medical staff before going on air, and I was able to I was good. I was able to rally, but that was tough. In 2019, the main event got canceled 15 seconds in due to an eye poke. Oh. And so fans started throwing everything.
I remember that.
And then I would just go, I'm just going to get under the table here. I sat under the table so I wasn't getting bottles from behind. And that became such a big moment because Bisping was standing up shadow boxing 18,000 people throwing stuff at him. And I just sat under the table and I was still on the air with my headset on, looking up at the screen in the corner so I could, describe the action. So Mexico City, here we come, take 3.
Let's go. Well, I hope everything goes well. Listen, thank you for the time. I want to do this again at some point in the near future. I love your work. Congrats on the music. I'm going to go check it out after the show is over. I know you're not working this weekend, but have fun next weekend. We'll talk to you down the line, all right?
Thanks, Matt. Always appreciate coming on with you.
All right, my thanks goes to Brendan Fitzgerald for stopping by, having a conversation with us last week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that in case you didn't see it the first time around. But now let's go back to football. Let's go back to the Super Bowl. Let's talk about some trends here as we're going to dive down the rabbit hole to have a conversation about things that you might like to know before you bet on the Super Bowl. All right, let's jump down the rabbit hole being brought to you by our friends at Rabbet. New users can get 5 free Rabbet cash when they sign up using the code Rabbet5. What is Rabbet? Well, it's the first true peer-to-peer sports picking marketplace. Think of it as Venmo for your sports takes. We all have those group chats where you're talking trash. Well, Rabbet lets you back it up with real action. They've gotten rid of the house entirely. So instead of fighting an algorithm designed to take your money, you create the offer, you set the line, you challenge your friends directly. It's social, it's fair, and without that big heavy vig, it's the only place where you can truly make your hunches happen. No house, no juice. Check it out. Rabbet has some very unique angles as well as its built-in sweepstakes model, which allows you to engage with users so much more easily. And if they aren't ready already to put cash down, you can jump into their promotion HQ. They have free-to-play contests sponsored by major brands, influencers, and celebrities where you can win gear and discounts just for knowing your sports. Check it out. Download it in the Google Play or Apple Store. Use that code Rabbit5 at sign up to get 5 free Rabbit cash at sign up for Rabbit. Okay, let's talk trends. Let's talk information and things that you can now know or should know before you bet on the Super Bowl. This is going to be pretty fun and interesting because, one, I'm a trend better. So I love looking at trends. I love looking and seeing what's going to happen and how this all gets presented and what it looks like when we kind of get to the point where we want to bet. How do we do it? The way we do it is important because I think having the historical information can matter. Okay, let's start with both these teams as to what they did this year in the NFL. The Seahawks were favored by an average of 4.32 points per game, which is a little bit better than the Patriots. They were favored by 3.75 points per game this year. Why is that important? Well, the team that was the biggest favorite on average over the course of the season in the Super Bowl since 2001, they are 7-17 straight up and 3-21 against the spread. I am far more interested in the spread number than the straight up number. 3-21 is significant to me over the course of the last 24 seasons because it makes sense, right? The public is going to inflate these numbers. And at the time of taping, and it's today taping on a Tuesday afternoon, this is going to replay on Wednesday and get played on Wednesday. The number is 5 for the Seahawks. It's the same conversation that I had last week about the Patriots being favored by 5, 5.5, 6 over the Broncos. It's just too high. Whether or not that the Patriots win the game or whether Seattle wins or not is not nearly as important to me as the overall spread. It just feels like there's a lot of recency bias going on here into this number, and people are betting that the Patriots defense is not good. And again, I'm going to bring up the conversation that I don't think anyone really is having. No one's talking about the path for Seattle. Everyone's talking about the Patriots' path. But let me ask you this. The Patriots went on the road and won a game. If they had fumbled one time, if Drake May had been intercepted on the first pass of the game, if that gets intercepted, it may be a totally different conversation here. The Broncos are in this game. But the ball was dropped, and then Drake May did not hurt his team. He didn't fumble. He was not intercepted. Everyone's talking about the stats for the Patriots, right? Their offense looks so bad, but like the Broncos are getting no credit for their defense. They got all the credit going into the game. But then after the game, everyone just talks about the offense and Jared Stidham, and that's it. And no one's talking about the Patriots managing the game the right way. Punting was a win in that weather. Punting was a W. Throwing the ball away was a W. That's how you do it. That's how you win. The whole idea is to win the game. It doesn't matter how you win the game. It doesn't matter the way you win the game. It doesn't matter what the stats are when you win the game. It only matters as if you won the game. So if you go through this a normal gambler's thought process, right? Well, because of what we just watched and because of what Seattle just did, it would make sense that the number would be a bit inflated if you were winning and covering because the public, the books, the people who are gambling, they believe that you are better than you actually are. And so you start to get the inflated number. And thus, I think 5 is an inflated number. I think this number should be 3.5, which is what the Patriots closed at against the Broncos. They didn't cover. They won by 3. I think Seattle winning by 3 is a very logical conversation. It's a very logical. I can listen to anybody that wants to tell me that Seattle's going to win by 3. I just can't listen to this idea that the Patriots are going to get curb stomped. Like they just haven't had that happen this year. Like again, when they have Robert Spillane, Milton Williams, and Christian Gonzalez playing, the Patriots are 17-0. They haven't lost, and they lost Robert Spillane for a good chunk of the game against the Broncos. He got hurt halfway through the first half and didn't play again until the second half. So they really only had Gonzo and Milton Williams. but you've got a defensive line. Christian Barmore's been tremendous. He was awesome in the game against the Broncos. All I heard all week long was about how great that Broncos offense was going to be. How great and how dominant the Broncos offensive line was going to be because they could run the ball. RJ Harvey had a decent game running the football, but nothing spectacular. And then when the weather showed up, it was over. Like that was it. The first half, Jared Stidham, everybody was talking about, oh my God, Jared Stidham. Wow. The touchdown toss that went up 7-0. And all of a sudden it felt like that was a 25-0 lead. It was 7-0. And he makes a horrible mistake, and people are still arguing as to whether or not that was a backwards pass. Yes, that was a backwards pass. It's pretty obvious, okay? Where was he throwing the football? I have no idea. Why was he two-hand passing that, chest passing that ball backwards? I have no clue. But they robbed the Patriots of a defensive touchdown in that game by blowing the play dead. So that number, that makes perfect sense. When you have one team that's favored on average by more, 3-21 against the spread over the last 24 seasons in the NFL since 2001. Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. Another stat. New England enters the Super Bowl with a slightly better straight up win percentage, 85%, than the Seahawks at 84.2% this season. Patriots played one extra game. That's why there's a difference there. The team with the slightly better win percentage is 1-17 against the spread in the Super Bowl since 2003. I don't know how much weight I give to this simply because it's 85 versus 84, and the Patriots played in the wild card round and Seattle did not. So that win is why the Patriots have that number, why it's heavier. So like, I can't really give that much. To me, I don't give a lot of weight to that. Okay, that's not that significant on this to me. From a stat perspective, I'm not jumping up and down about that. But it does lead towards, if you are looking for a number for Seattle, that's a pretty significant number. I mean, 1-17 against the spread's a pretty big number. That's a pretty good trend. In the Super Bowl era, teams that didn't play in the wild card game, Seattle, had a bye entering the playoffs, Seattle, facing a team that did play in the wild card game or did not have a bye. Seattle side is 4-13 straight up. And again, 2-14-1 against the spread. Why? Look, there's something for rhythm. There's something for getting hot and playing playoff football and having to go through a more difficult path. Again, the Patriots' path, I'm going to say it again, and nobody wants to buy this. The Patriots' path in the playoffs was more difficult than the Seahawks. It's just right there in front of you. I know you're going to run to the quarterback angle, but I've talked to enough players, I've listened to enough players who know ball, who say, stop going to the quarterback. It's more than just the quarterback. Justin Herbert is a good quarterback. CJ Stroud played horrifically, but their defense was historically good. The Chargers were a top 5 defense. The Texans were 1 or 2 in almost every defensive stat category you care about. The Broncos were equally that good. So the Patriots going through 3 top 5 defenses that no one's ever done that before. That is way harder than playing at home off a bye against a shell of a football team in the 49ers and then your arch rival in the Rams, in which your team gets up because that feels like a Super Bowl type matchup. And the crowd treats it like a Super Bowl type matchup, and you're at home when you do it. The Patriots went on the road and they won the AFC Championship game on the road against a top 5 defense. The Rams don't have a top 5 defense. Sam Darnold putting up 31 points against that defense. He put up 39 in the second game, the first game in Seattle, and then he put up 31. Like, the Rams defense is not very good. So, like, again, in terms of path, in terms of where the Patriots have gone and who they went through versus Seattle, you can tell me all you want about the regular season. That's fine, but we're not in the regular season. We're talking about the playoffs, the bracket, How did you play? One played 3 games, one played 2. One team played 3 top 5 defenses, the other did not. One team went on the road and won the championship game on the road, the other one did not. Like, the path to me, the Patriots' path is way more difficult. And finally, if you want to talk about strength of schedule, only 11 of the 120 teams ever to play in the Super Bowl had a harder strength of schedule than what the Seahawks had this season. Teams that had a better strength of schedule, those 11 went 8-3 straight up in the Super Bowl. If you're looking for good positive numbers here for Seattle, they've clearly played all year long. They have played a much deeper, much more difficult schedule than the Patriots. There's no debating that. But this is a bracket. This is a playoff. There's not really a comparison in my mind from who played the harder schedule, the Patriots or the Seahawks, when it comes to the postseason. Time for my favorite thing about today. Well, my favorite thing about today is that you guys are watching this because if you're watching this, that means it got out and it came out. So that's my favorite thing about today is that we were able to get this thing out properly and was able to be aired on Sports Grid and everything worked out. So that's my favorite thing about today. I will be taping the show for Thursday from New Orleans. So you will see the opening line. You will see the rabbit hole. You'll see these things happening coming up here for me in New Orleans. Hopefully it all works out well. Again, traveling and everything else. Hopefully it all, I can figure out, the internet and everything else in New Orleans. But tomorrow, similar type show. We'll do a best of. We'll hear from Adam Bjorn. We'll replay that conversation from Tuesday that I did with Adam. We'll take a look at the news of the industry, and we'll go back tomorrow to the 4-year anniversary opening line that I did on the show for Thursday. So looking forward to getting into all of that coming up on the show from New Orleans tomorrow. But for you guys who are with us, I appreciate it. We're back tomorrow, same place, same time for both YouTube, X, and for Sports Grid. We're wrapping it all up here in the same spot. Thursday, a Bet Chris Arizona Thursday hits you tomorrow for the Bostonian versus the book.